trip to have your parents when you live on a place like this. But it's been an incredible experience, and they've gotten involved in everything from cacao ceremonies to tarot readings. Dad's going to yoga tomorrow. So they're getting into a bit of everything, so I'm thrilled, and it's amazing to have them here. So so I live here and I'm a writer, and I'm in the middle of writing my first ever non-fiction book based on my work in Cambodia, where I've spent the last 3.5 years living, working with street kids and using hip-hop as a way of engaging with drug users and prostitutes and street kids. So this is a very short story from my book. The only pretext really is that I was managing a centre in Phnom Penh in the slums, and the story here is from when we were invited to do a TEDx performance. So I assume that most people have actually heard of TED, and we did a TED presentation, and this was the lead up to doing the first ever TED in Cambodia, which was in 2011. So it's a nice story. I am brought downstairs from my office to see where the show is up to. I have explained to death the importance of the task at hand. They are to think about their life stories, share this with each other, and turn that into a 12-minute performance. They have exactly 12 minutes, no more and no less. My final instructions, harsh as they were, was that if I am not laughing or crying and completely immersed, then you have not done your job. Maybe I have asked too much of them. Can breakdancers switch hats and create a real-life storytelling performance? Can a bunch of young teenagers who grew up begging and doing drugs on the street understand themselves and their complicated histories well enough and have the skill and courage to map that out on the dance floor? Sokar calls me down to see his solo. I haven't seen any of the choreography yet, but I sure have done a lot of yelling and stressing. The TED performance is in 2 weeks, and I'm yet to witness a thing. This year is the first time ever it will be held in Cambodia, and we're invited to be a part of it. TED is, in my eyes, possibly the biggest thing I, they, or anyone is ever going to be a part of. I sit on an old rickety wooden bench. I sit right in the middle so the wonky legs won't sway. I'm excited to see what Sokar has come up with, and secretly terrified it won't be good enough. The 21-year-old has a son to a young woman who tries to see when she lets him. Their relationship is skewed by her need for drugs, which worked just fine when they were first dating and enjoying each other's high. Sokar has lived a lifetime of family abuse and has recently been able to get clean of drugs, but is now slowly following his father's footsteps of becoming a violent alcoholic. He is somewhat aware of his situation. Well, he is mostly aware of his situation after he's turned violent and there is real trouble. All of the dancers move back to give him space. They are milling around the edges of the dance floor, chatting and eating 40-cent micha noodles from the street vendor outside. Shirts off, everyone is hot, sweating from rehearsing in the midday sun. 17-year-old Savan, who has the best English at the centre, can see that I had my serious face on. Tries to make light of the situation. He teases, "You must make her cry now." Sokar, with no understanding of English, just looks at him, looks at me, and shrugs his shoulders. Savan winks at me and steps back to give back his space. The music begins, and I'm immediately surprised and confused. Sokar, an incredible breakdancer, has a slow melodic violin piece playing that you instantly feel pulling at your heartstrings. He's standing alone on the floor in old ripped jeans and runners. His dancer's body, bare chest, stubby muscles ripple down, broad strong shoulders and tiny waist. He looks like a perfect statue. He moves slowly as if the violin is pulling him gently around the dance floor. He drops down on his fingertips and toes and alternates fancy footwork from slow to fast and slow again, keeping in time with the music. He is back standing, falls to the side gracefully as if in slow motion and rolls through back into standing. He is magnificent. The violin raises its tempo and goes off into a high-pitched sound of urgency, and Sokha keeps up. He doesn't so much dance now as act, crawl, scream, claw, and beat at his chest. He starts running around the dance floor, eyes wide open, panicked and searching. He is in full character, but is completely himself. He is himself dying for a hit, waiting, wanting, hoping someone will come and save him. He is not sure if saving him means finding drugs or helping him stay clean. His angelic body falls to the ground as if the wind was suddenly knocked out of him. He crawls back to sitting and stares straight at me, through me, with pleading eyes. He moans. It is so loud I feel uncomfortable. He is too close. He points at me. He points to himself, to his heart. He wants my help. He beats on his chest again and moans. He is in so much pain. Tears roll down his cheeks, and all I want to do is reach out and hold him. My tears mimic his, and I completely forget where I am. That I'm watching him rehearse a piece of choreography. It is his choreography though, and I know that this is his story that he wants to tell. He drops to the floor exhausted and curls up like a child. He lays there on his side, knees up against his chest, his head in his hands. He is still now. Dancers start coming forward from the back of the dance floor. Were they there all along? I hadn't noticed. Is this part of the show? They slowly edge closer, all staring at Sokha. He is scared and starts backing away, stumbling as he scrambles backwards on hands and knees. When they get close enough, they stop, surrounding him in a semicircle. He stops too, his eyes wide with fear. The music has faded to nothing. Do they want to hurt me? You feel him whisper through the silence. Nin takes off his jacket, leans in and wraps it around his bare shoulders. Sokha is still holding his breath. They outstretch their arms to him, and slowly, hesitantly, he reaches back out to them. Their fingers touch. He breathes. They clasp hands. He is no longer alone.